Morning, America. How we doing today? We're going over Wolf Creek Pass today. We are on Highway 160 heading east, or west, I'm sorry. We're heading west right now. And the reason we're going this direction is because this is the same way that C.W. McCall went over it in his song. He went from east toward the west, going after he went down Wolf Creek Pass, he goes into Pagosa Springs. And that would be going westbound. All right, so we're heading uphill right now. This is right where the grade starts to go up, and we're going up at probably about a 4 or 5% grade right now, which is, you know, decently steep. Okay, now the east side of the pass isn't as steep as the west side. The west, if you're heading westbound going downhill, that's steeper than if you're heading eastbound going downhill. Okay, so this area here is not really a bad area for the, you know, for the trucks and the or cars or whatever, for accidents and whatnot. It's usually on the west side of the pass. All right, now we're going to follow this on up here several miles. We get to the very top, and I'm going to get out and look around at the information boards and whatnot, and then I'm going to take you down the hill like a truck. Now, of course, I'm not in a truck right now. I'm in my van, which has a 10-speed automatic transmission in it, but I'm going to try to simulate and walk you through kind of what it's like to go down Wolf Creek Pass in a semi, and I'll explain as I go down. I'll explain why it's so dangerous and it's claimed so many lives over the years. Now, if you don't believe me, look at this. Go to YouTube and look up any of these videos right here, and you can see examples of what Wolf Creek Pass has done over the years. Okay, now the history on Wolf Creek Pass. Back in 1911, I think it was. No, what year it was he discovered the place? Let me look it up real quick. Okay, it doesn't say what year it was. It was in the 1800s sometime or other. A trapper named Bill Wolf discovered, or was one of the first white men in this area. Okay, and off to the left of the highway right now, there's a river, but it's going back east, and that'll eventually flow back toward the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, but once you get over the pass, there's a creek going westbound that actually ends up flowing into the Colorado River and eventually down into like Lake Mead and all that, you know, the Grand Canyon. All right, so they named the creek after Bill Wolf. Okay, then years later in 1911, it says, in 1911, they started building a road. You know, it was a gravel road, like a shelf road and everything, and they got it finished in 1916. Okay, so 1911 to 1916, about 5 years to build this road up through here. Now, it wasn't anything like it is now. It was, you know, for donkeys and mules and wagons and stuff back then. Anyway, years later, let me find it. I gotta look it up again. In the 1930s, they widened it to 12 feet wide, still a gravel road though. And then in 20 years later, which had been 1950-ish, around 1950, they went ahead and paved it, a 2-lane road. It wasn't until 2006 where they widened it into what it is today, a 4-lane road. Now, what click back off of that. Now what you're looking at here is a 2-lane road. Now once you get on the other side, like I say, it widens up to a 4-lane road, and it makes the pass much safer. Okay, so now one of the things, the first time I'd ever heard Wolf Creek Pass, of course, was before I was a truck driver, back when I was a kid. In 1975, C.W. McCall had a song. Now if you remember C.W. McCall, people that don't know, he was the one that wrote the song Convoy. Mercy sakes alive, looks like we've got ourselves a convoy. Okay, Matt. Anyway, he also wrote this song about Wolf Creek Pass, and it was a humorous, comical song, and it was a talking song. He didn't sing; he kind of talked through it. Now, I want to go through some of the lyrics in that song, and let me find where it's at here. I've got it on a different part of my computer. All right, now I'm going to go through the lyrics of this song and kind of explain a few things, because it's all kind of trucker lingo. Okay, all right, first starts out, me and Earl, yeah, we're teaming. Okay, me and Earl was hauling chickens on a flatbed out of Wiggins. Okay, I looked it up. Wiggins, there's a Wiggins, Colorado, which is up northeast of Denver, and there's a Wiggins, Mississippi. I'm going to guess they were bringing this Wiggins out of Wiggins, Mississippi, because they grow chickens down in that area, or raise chickens down there. I don't think they raise chickens up in northern Colorado. Anyway, and we'd spent all night on the uphill side of 37 miles of hell called Wolf Creek Pass, which is up on the Great Divide. We was sitting there sucking toothpicks, drinking knee-highs and onion soup mix. Now, I don't know what onion soup mix means. It's some kind of trucker lingo. I have no idea. But sucking toothpicks was a way drivers would keep awake back in the day. They'd take toothpicks and they'd soak them in a little bitty bottle with horse medicine in there, okay? And that horse medicine had some kind of probably a cocaine-based whatever, and it would keep them awake, okay? I remember as a kid we used to suck on cinnamon toothpicks. You get the hot cinnamon oil, and you soak them in toothpicks in that oil, and then you pull the toothpick out, stick it in your lip, and suck on the cinnamony toothpick. But anyway, back in the trucking days, way back when this song was talking about, that's how truck drivers, some of them kept awake. They'd get this horse medicine from a veterinarian, okay, and they'd soak toothpicks in it. When they wanted to stay awake, they'd pull a toothpick out and stick it in their lip. All right, so you can tell the old timer truck drivers. There ain't any of them out there anymore, but the really old timer truck drivers, they always carried a toothpick in their lip for some reason. It's just a habit, sucking on a toothpick. All right, drinking knee highs, that would be like a grape knee high or something like that, a soft drink. All right, he says, I says to Earl, let's mail a card to Mother and then send them chickens on down the other side. Yeah, let's give them a ride. And then the chorus comes in, and Wolf Creek Pass, way up on the Great Divide, trucking on down the other side. Anyway, so forgive my singing there. All right, well, Earl put down his bottle of knee high, mashed his foot down on the throttle, and then a couple of boobs, the two guys, the boobs, with 1,000 cubic inch engine, okay, in a 1948 Peterbilt, screamed alive. We woke up them chickens. All right, we rode down the shoulder, spraying pine cones, rocks, and boulders. Put 400 head of them Rhode Island Reds and a couple of burnout roosters on the line. Look out below, because here we go. And the chorus again, Wolf Creek Pass. Well, we commenced to trucking, and them hens commenced to clucking. And Earl took out a match and scratched his pants. That's how they lit a match back in. You'd slide, stretch them on your pants, and it would light. And lit up the unused half of a dollar cigar and took a puff. Says, "My, ain't it purty up here?" I says, "Earl, this hill can spill us. You better slow down. You're gonna kill us. Just one mistake, and it's the pearly gates for them 48 crates or 85 crates of USDA approved cluckers. You wanna hit second?" And the chorus again. Well, Earl grabbed his shifter and he stabbed her into fifth gear, and then the chromium plated, fully illuminated, genuine accessory shift knob come right off in his hands. He says, I says, "You want to screw that back on there, Earl?" The fully aluminum fully aluminum genuine accessory shift knob, that back in the day, the like twin stick trucks and everything, even the single stick trucks, drivers like to put their own shift knob. They had unique shift knobs that they would put on their shifters, on their gear shift. And that he's just kind of making fun of these, chromium plated, fully illuminated, genuine accessory shift knob. Okay, he's just kind of poking fun at that. All right, he says, well, Earl, he was trying to thread it on there. Then the fire fell off of his cigar and dropped down and rolled around. It dropped down and sort of rolled around and then lit the cuff of Earl's pants and burned a hole in his sock. Yeah, sort of lit him on fire. I looked out the window and started counting phone poles, going at a rate of 4 to the 7th power. Well, I put 2 and 2 together and added 12 and carried 5. Came up with 22,000 telephone poles an hour. I looked at Earl, and his eyes was wide, and his lips was curled, and his leg was fried. His hand was frozen to the wheel like a tongue to the sled of the middle of a blizzard. I says, "Earl, I'm not the type to complain, but the time has come for me to explain. if you don't apply some brake real soon, you're going to have to pick us up with a stick and a spoon. Well, Earl reared back, cocked his leg, and stepped down as hard as he could on the brake. And the pedal went clear to the floor, staying there right on the floor. He said it's sort of like stepping on a plum. Well, from there on down, it wasn't real pretty. It was hairpin country and switchback city. One of them looked like a can of worms, another one looked like malaria germs. Right in the middle of the whole damn show, there was a real nice tunnel, now wouldn't you know. Sign says clearance 12-foot line, but them chickens was stacked to 13.9. Well, we shot that tunnel at 110, like gas through a funnel and eggs through a hen. We took the top row of them chickens off slicker than the scum off a Louisiana swamp. Well, down and down and around, we ran out of ground and the edge of town, bashed into the side of the feed store downtown Pagosa Springs. And they do the... All right, now I want to explain, there is no feed store downtown Pagosa Springs. The tunnel that they're talking about wasn't put in until 2006, okay? And it's on the east side of the tunnel. And let me see where we're at on the video here, time-wise. We've already went through the tunnel because I was looking on another page here. I didn't see us going through that tunnel. But so it's the writer, it's C.W. McCall writing the song, and he's taking a few liberties with the facts, but to make the song sound fun and ha ha ha. He also makes it sound like right as you get down to the very bottom of the hill, boom, you're right in Pagosa Springs. Pagosa Springs is like another 20 miles down the road. So, yeah, anyway, that's the song C.W. McCall, Wolf Creek Pass, and you can look that up online and listen to the song proper. He does it a lot better than me, obviously. So anyway, we get up here closer to the top of the mountain. You're going to start seeing there's a ski lodge up here. And I think it's called Wolf Creek Ski Lodge. Anyway, it's one of the best ski lodges in, well, how do you want to say it? They get the most snow out of all the ski lodges, ski slopes in Colorado. They get the most snow down here, which seems odd. It's one of the farthest south in Colorado. You would think the ones way up north by Vail or someplace like that would get a lot more snow, but apparently Wolf Creek gets a lot more snow than other passes. So, what else can we talk about? Let's see here. Wolf Creek, let's see, up on the top there's Lobo Overlook. You get toward the top of the pass, there's a road that goes off to the north, and it goes way up to 11,700 feet, and you can see like a really good view of the Continental Divide. Now, like I said, Wolf Creek Pass is at the top of the Continental Divide, so it let's see what controversy for decades. A major resort project proposed by Texas billionaire Red McCombs has been causing controversy in the area. They don't want to give them a permit. Apparently, they're thinking it's too many people up on top of this dangerous mountain in a huge resort. Now the ski lodge is enough, but this huge resort, and it'd just be that much more traffic on the pass. I guess who knows with politics? Who knows why they do what they do? So, let me think if I can find anything else to talk about here. We're going to be coming up on a snow shed. A snow shed there's like avalanche areas, and you'll see it here in a little bit, just around the curve here. There's a snow shed, and there's an avalanche area that when the avalanche breaks and slides, it'll come down and it'll cover up the road, and then they got to come up with machinery and dig it all out. The road's closed until they dig it all out. So they decided they build this snow shed. It's a big concrete structure. It's basically a concrete building, and you drive through it, and if the snow comes down, it hits the top of it and just skims off the roof and just goes off to the left, comes off from the right across the road, and then the snow slides off into the left. You'll see it here coming around this curve, I think. It's right up here somewhere. There it is. There it is. Now you can see there's a little valley off to the right there. That's prone to avalanches. So instead of letting the snow get down here on the road, they just kind of made a tunnel, and the snow slides right off from one side off to the other side, and you know. So that's a snow tunnel you're going through right now. Now on the other side of the pass, as we're coming down, I comment a little bit on there's some snow shed walls. It's not a real snow shed, but there's not as big of a valley. They still have snow avalanches, but it's not as big. So instead of making a big snow shed for the dirt to go over the snow to go over the top, they just put a big thick wall there and kind of works as a barricade. And for the most part, keeps the snow off the freeway or off the highway. And if it does come down and get some, there's not near as much to clean up. So we're getting pretty close to the top up here. We're not too much longer. We've been going uphill the whole time. This camera, you know, cameras don't show you steepness. They don't show you angles. You know, you could say that this is a perfectly flat highway, and it's not. We're going up about 5 or 6% grade right now. Probably about 5%, I'm guessing. Now on the other side, there's areas on the other side 6 to 6.5, 6.75%. So it's, you know, decently steep on the other side. Hence, that's why they have trouble over there with wrecks and cars and stuff, you know, semis and whatnot. Now, over the years, I don't know how many all together, but I was looking it up, and it was like 40. I think it was like 47 wrecks in between 2015 and 2022 or something like that. I was reading an article, and I don't remember exactly. It was something like from 2015 to 2022, there were 47 fatalities, or 47 accidents, maybe. Maybe it was 47 accidents on this hill, semi accidents. And like I said, if you go back and watch some of those old videos, or not old videos, but the YouTube videos I told you about, just go to YouTube and type in fatal wreck, or type in Wolf Creek Pass fatal wrecks, and it'll pull up a list of different videos about one. And there's one where the driver of a red Kenworth was coming he was coming eastbound, going the opposite way I'm going here. He was coming up the hill, and this blue semi come flying by, and he caught it with a dash cam, and this truck went flying by, and it just busted right through the concrete barrier and went off the cliff. And it was pretty bad. The guy got killed, of course, and I don't know if they cleaned that up or not. Years ago, we were up here on vacation, and there's an overlook area that you can look down, and you can see old rusty metallic, you know, chunks of metal down there, you know, old hunks of cars and semis and, you know, stuff that they just never bothered to clean up. It's way down in a ravine. But they're doing a little construction right here. We're at the pass right here. See where that semi coming ahead of us? Right there, that's about the top, or just past him is the top. So we're just about there, within a half mile. About a half mile, maybe quarter mile. But so they're doing this, and these two guys on these, I thought they were mopeds at first. And once I got up there to the summit, there was about a dozen of them up there, and I talked to one of the guys. When I went over to take pictures of the information boards, I got to talking to the guys, and they're vintage motorcycles. I think he said they got to be older than 1970 or older, you know, or earlier. And there were all kinds. There was a Ducatis. The guy I talked to, he had an old Honda, a little Honda trail bike. It was like a 1970 Honda trail bike. But it's a club, and they get together and they take these rides. They said they drive about 200 miles a day, and they tour like all over the state of Colorado for, you know, a couple of weeks or so, and they do about 200 miles a day, and either pitch tents, or they get hotels or whatever. But that'd be a neat little hobby. But they're such small bikes. They're less. What do you say? They were less 350 cc's or less. So they're pretty small bikes. And as you can see, they're having a hard time going up the hill. I caught them, and they were going, they're working pretty hard. All right, we're at the top, folks. And we'll pull over here, and you look off to the left, you see a few cars parked on the other side over there. That's the information board, and that's the dead center top. All right, so I'm gonna let this car get out the way. I'm gonna pull up behind this truck, and I'm gonna park here, and I'm gonna go over and take pictures of the of the information boards for you, and I'll be right back and we'll take a trip down the hill. Alright folks, let's head down the hill, and as you can see on the dash here, there we go, there's our 10 different gears in this van. It's a 10-speed. I'm going to get up to probably about 5th gear, okay, and see if it'll hold. And what I'm going to do is click this down to force it to stay in 5th gear. Alright, now in a semi, I crest the hill, and I'd plan on what gear I wanted to get in. And like I said, as you go up a hill, whatever gear you went up the hill, you can usually go down the hill in that gear. So let's say I climbed that hill as in this van, and I climbed it in 5th gear. Well, going back down, I'd want to be in 5th gear. Okay. Now, different mountains are different. Some of them on one side is a steeper side, and the other side's a shallower side. So it varies, you know, pass to pass. But as you can see, I'm getting up to 45, 48, almost 50 mile an hour, and 5th gear is not holding me. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stab brake, or stabe brake, as I said. Okay, I'm gonna slow down all the way down to 40. Okay, my brakes are getting hot while I do that, but now my brakes are off. Okay, and they're cooling down now. They're starting to cool back down. All right, now I'm gonna go down to 4th gear, force this thing down to 4th gear, and see if that'll hold. Okay, so we're at 45, 47 mile an hour, 48, so it's not quite holding. Okay, so to get it to hold, I'm gonna have to slow down, and I'm gonna have to go into 3rd gear. Okay, force it into 3rd gear. Let's see if 3rd gear will hold it. Now I can easily go down this much faster in this van, but I'm trying to give you the idea, if I was in a semi, what it would be like. Okay, so now I'm in 3rd gear, and it's still not quite holding it. Okay, now you got to remember, this van doesn't have a Jake brake like a semi would have. Okay, so this is kind of like going down it in the old days before we had Jake brakes. Okay, and it was just the back pressure of the engine, and that was it. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of holding it at 3rd gear. Kind of high RPMs, but this thing will go up to 6,000 RPM, so before red lines. So yeah, it's almost holding it right there. So 3rd gear's almost holding it. So what happens, you're in a semi and you're coming down this hill, and it's what makes this mountain dangerous, is you think, okay, well, 3rd gear, it's holding it pretty good, you know, I don't really have to hit my brakes. I'm going to hit the brakes going around this curve right here. Okay, slow it back down to 40, but I really haven't had to touch my brakes any in 3rd gear. So you get brave and you go up to 4th gear. Oh yeah, this is pretty good, yeah. And you get to going down this hill, and oh yeah, it's no problem. 4th gear's holding it pretty good, and I can sit there and hold my brake and slow down. All right, but yeah, this is holding it plenty good, yeah. So you get a little bit braver, and you think, well, I'm going to go up to 5th gear. So you're in a semi now, not in this van. I'm pretending I'm in a semi here. Okay, so I'm going down this thing, and I think, okay, well, yeah, 5th gear is holding it pretty good too, and I haven't touched the brake yet. It's in 5th gear, and I'm getting up to 52 mile an hour, 53. You know, I need to slow down. So let's get up to 55, going around a little bit of a curve. Let's slow this thing down. Let's get her down to 40, and I didn't have to hold the brake very long, and there we go. So you get a little bit brave, and you think, well, you know, I'm really not having to use the brakes that much. My brakes aren't getting that hot, right? So you think, I go a little bit better. Let's go up to 6th gear. All right, let's go up to 6th gear, and everything's going fine. You think you're getting a little, I don't know, brave, getting a little cocky, so to say, and you're coming down it, and it's pretty much a straight highway. There's a little bit of a bend here and there. It's steep, but it's fairly straight, and I can control 55, 58 mile an hour. Let's slow her back down to about 40. And right there, I'm back off the brakes. I haven't used the brakes that much, so my brakes really aren't that hot. So you think you're doing pretty good going down this hill. Now we got a ways to go before we get to the hard part of this hill, but you get the idea. Drivers get to coming down it, and they think, well, man, in third gear I'm going so slow, and I think this engine will hold me back better. And they'll go into fourth and then fifth, you know, and they'll get a little cocky, and they get to thinking, well, yeah, this isn't such a, I've heard all this terrible stuff about, well, whoa, here's a curve, we need to slow down on this curve. All right, so yeah, let's slow down. You know, for a semi, your cargo would be shifting, going around a gear too fast, or a curve too fast. In the van here, I don't want stuff sliding off my shelves back there. But in a semi, you don't go around a curve real fast because your cargo might shift. If you're a flatbedder, you got a load of lumber on, the lumber will shift. Okay, if you have a dry van and you got a whole bunch of like canned goods, you know, pork and beans or something like that, well, those pallets might shift, and then you have to reload. You know, you have to restack everything when you get to your destination. So you want to go around the curves kind of gentle and everything. So you're doing everything's pretty good. Everything's holding fine. And oh, here's a runaway ramp. I don't need that. Hell, I'm doing just fine doing this 45, 50 mile an hour stuff going down this hill. All right. So you think everything's going fine. I don't need to take this off, this runaway ramp. Now, in the old days, first time I came down this, I only remember one runaway ramp. When they widened this to 4 lanes, I think they put another runaway ramp, and they did a lot of stuff to this highway that wasn't here way back in the day. Okay, so anyway, beautiful scenery. Like I'm comfortable here. Got a little bit of a curve. Let's slow down a little bit, but I'm comfortable. Everything. Oh, look at that beautiful view. Look at the rocks off to the left and the forest on the right. You know, oh, isn't that beautiful? And you get complacent. And you're driving along, la-di-da-di-da, you know, and back in the day, you didn't have a cell phone, but yeah, maybe you get to messing with the radio, to tune in that AM radio station, you know, and try to find that good song, you know, Wolf Creek Pass coming on down the other side, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And we come into this here, and okay, about it real quick, I don't remember these things. These are snow sheds. There's avalanche canyons up on the right here, and in the winter, and a little small avalanche will come back down through here and it would block the highway. So they put these big barricades up that will hopefully block an avalanche if it's not too big, okay? And it'll hold most of the snow on the other side of that wall. But I don't remember those back in the day, okay? But yeah, this was a 2-lane road, much skinnier than this, and I'm sitting here talking to you, and I'm tapping the brakes every so often, trying to keep it slowed down. But what I'm trying to get at is, the reason this mountain is so dangerous is because you get complacent. You get to driving along here, not paying attention. You think, well, this is oh yeah, I can see the valley down below. Look at it, straight ahead, there's the valley. No big deal. I go on down this thing, and everything's wonderful. And there's a little zigzaggy here. Okay, let's slow down. So going around these little zigzaggies, you know, these little S-turns, but not too bad. Now, like I said, this big wall here on the right, I don't remember that. And then this runaway ramp, see, it's a curved runaway ramp. I sure don't remember that, because that's the only one I've ever seen. It's a curved runaway ramp. So I'm sure they put that in at a later date when they widen this thing out. But you're coming down through here, wow, now this isn't looking so good, so you start getting on the brakes. And your brakes are getting hotter because you've got a whole truckload of, you know, cargo back here. You're heavy, and you're holding your brakes. You're touching your brakes. I'm touching my brakes now. Brake, brake, brake. And you can't, this is a 25 mile an hour curve, and I'm doing 40. Oh my God. Ah! And you come along, and you can't hold it, and there's a sign, and look at this sign. That's cracked. I wonder how that happened. All right, I'm going to stop real quick. I'm going to get out, and I'm going to show you how you just died. You went around that curve way too fast, and I shouldn't park here very long. I just want to go look over the mountain here. All right, so I'm not supposed to park here, no parking. But as you see, right there is what you go over. Okay, you come around this curve. You come around this curve way too fast. You hit this barricade that used to not be that big. It was just a guardrail, and you go down in there. Okay, and that's why it's called. That's why it's gotten so many people's lives over the years, they get cocky coming down thinking, oh, this isn't such a bad road after all. Let me put you back in here. Got wedge you in there. And let's get out of here because we're not supposed to park here. All right. So that's why it's so dangerous. It gives you a false sense of security. Oh, this isn't so bad, it's not so bad. And all of a sudden, here's this hairpin turn. And you're doing 40, 45 mile an hour. Your brakes are fairly hot. You go to get on them to slow down, and they're already warm. It doesn't take much to overheat them. They turn into glass, and they don't stop you. You can't get slowed down, and you go over that mountain, over that cliff. Okay, that's why this road has claimed so many people over the years, so many trucks, even cars, you know. But yeah, it's Wolf Creek Pass. And all these there's other mountains that have the same kind of dangers, I should say. Well, what do we got going on here? Mr. Motorcycle's going slow around the curve. Okay, and that's another problem. Let's say you're Mr. Cocky truck driver and you think everything's going fine, and you come down that hill, and all of a sudden you come up on another truck. It's 2-lane road. Back then, it's 2-lane road. You come up on another truck that's really heavy, and he's doing it proper. He's only doing 20, 25 mile an hour, and you're out there doing 40, and you come up behind him. You can't get slowed down. You rear end him. Okay? Now there's a wreck. It's not up on that hairpin, but it's a wreck, you know. So yeah, it's just Wolf Creek Pass has that mystique of being a dangerous highway because of what I just showed you, that hairpin turn, and it can sneak up on you. The thing is, from the top all the way down to that hairpin, it's not that bad, and I can handle this no problem. I can handle this no problem. I can handle this. Whoa, watch out. Around the curve you go, and down the hill and down the mountain, and you die. All right, enough of that. Enough of the doom and gloom of Wolf Creek Pass. Look at the scenery. Isn't that beautiful? That mountainside is just absolutely gorgeous. Something I'm going to show you just off to the left over here. We got a little surprise for you. Now I'm going to pull over here. You're going to see the video is going to kind of morph here in just a second. And it's a piece I cut out. I went back and re-recorded, redrove this, re-recorded it, because I decided how to put this video together. I'm going to put this surprise, this bit of beauty, I'm going to put it at the very end of the video. And just around this next couple of curves here, there's a place you can pull off. It's like a little rest area. Right there it is on the left. And you pull in there and you walk up about a quarter of a mile up in that little valley to the left up there, and you go up to a little waterfall called Treasure Falls. And right here you see me morphing the screen changed. Okay, that's me back on the road. Because I actually pulled in there and went back and did the video, and so, but I'm going to put that video at the very back of the channel, or at the very back of the program here. It's more of like bonus footage. Okay, so I wanted to keep this all as one part from one part of Wolf Creek Pass all the way to the other side, all the way down to Pagosa Springs, just to kind of let you see that when he was talking about, you know, as soon as he got down to the bottom of the hill, they were still doing 110. They went into town and hit the hardware store. It's many miles, so he could coast to a stop before he ever got to town. So. So anyway, letting you know there's going to be a little bonus at the end of the video about this waterfall, Treasure Falls, and but from now on we're going to talk about some other stuff here. One is lighten the mood here about a little trucker joke, an old trucker joke I used to tell a long time ago. All right, so there's this old guy. He comes into this company, you know, truck drivers needed, so he goes in there to get hired on. And he walks in, he says, I'm here about the truck driving job. And the foreman says, yep, sir, we're right here. What kind of experience you got? Oh, I got years and years of experience. Me and old Leroy, we've been all over the country. We drove thousands, all kinds of miles. We've been, we got all kinds of experience. Really bragging himself up. And the guy says, well, who's Leroy? So Leroy, he's my swamper. And for those of you that don't know, a swamper's the guy, it's like an apprentice. The guy that comes along with you to help you load and unload your freight, and that's how you kind of, back in the day, a long time ago, that's how you got into That's how you got into trucking. You jumped in the truck with some other truck driver, and you helped him unload the freight, and he kind of taught you the rules of the road and how to drive and things like this. Now it's all truck driving schools and stuff. But anyway, he says, "Oh, Leroy, he's my swamper. We've been together for years. Anywhere I go, Leroy's got to go everywhere I go to work." And he said, "Well, if you can pass the test and everything, we'll put Leroy on too. You know, or we'll let him go with you." All right, that sounds good. So he says, "Well, before you do this, we got to do this test. You got to do this driving test, and then you got to come back and do the verbal test." All right, well, let's do the driving test. So he goes and does the driving test, comes back, and says, he knows what he's doing. Yeah. So the manager says, "All right, the verbal test. All right, now you're out on a mountain, out in the Rockies out there, and you're on a mountain, and you get ready to come down the mountain, and you misjudge it, and you get just a little bit too high gear, and the engine won't hold you back, and you're trying everything you can to get slowed down, to get down into a lower gear. You just can't do it. It just keep going faster and faster, and you ride the brakes, and the brakes are getting hotter and hotter, and you're just, oh my gosh, we're going out of control here. What are you going to do? You come around this curve, and the truck's completely out of control. There's no brakes at all. There's no way you can stop. And there's a school bus stopped right in the middle of the road. A bunch of children on there. Quick, what do you do?" "Well, I'd reach around there and wake up Leroy." And the manager just looked at him like, "What? You'd reach around and wake up Leroy? Why would you do that?" So, "Leroy's been with me a long time, and he ain't never seen no wreck like we're fixing to have." Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, it's an old trucker joke, from way back. Yeah. So anyway, we're down on the flats now. This is flat ground, and the beautiful meadows, high mountain meadows. I don't know how high we are, probably about 6,000-7,000 feet here. And it's just, it's just gorgeous. This part of Colorado is just absolutely stunning. And as you see, as we're driving along, you keep looking off to the left and the right, you'll see all these ranches and how big, fancy farms and stuff. And I think some of them are just, wealthy people that come down here and bought some land and built a nice mansion or nice log cabin or whatever. And others are places that have been in the family for years, and the ranchers that have worked the cattle in this area for years. There's all kinds of there's big money around this area, you can tell. But excuse me. It's just beautiful. And I mean, if I won the lottery, this is probably one of the places I'd pick to build a nice house. Build a real nice fancy cabin up in the woods somewhere. It's not highly populated. There's not a really big city anywhere. Like Denver or something that's a long ways away. Pagosa Springs up here, it's a good enough sized town. They have everything you need. I don't remember if they have a Walmart or not. I think they might have a Walmart. I'm not quite sure, but they got your Dollar Generals and Family Dollars and that type of stuff. Safeway grocery stores, that type of stuff. They've got all that. They got a hardware store, not on the edge of town, and no, not where the semi would run into it. But anyway, they've got all the stuff. Another thing, the reason they call it Pagosa Springs is there's a natural hot springs, and there's a huge public swimming pool kind of thing. It's a private company that owns it, but it's not like a regular swimming pool in any city or whatever. It's just like you dig a hole and you line it with concrete and then pour the water in, and you got a swimming pool, right? This here is more like all natural. It's think of a hot a fountain, or not a fountain, hot springs in Yellowstone with the natural. Well, that's way too hot. This is more of a tempered water. They cool it down somehow. But you can go in there and different pools. They got all these different natural made pools, okay? And you can go around and get in. One pool's warm, another one's really hot, another one's kind of medium, So you go out and find the pool that you like, the temperature you like. And, it's like, I don't know if it really does anything, but back years ago, everybody thought the hot springs was like a medicinal thing. You go get in it, and it sucks all the poisons out of your bodies and all that. I don't know if it does or not. I think it's just the nice warm spring. It's a huge, really hot bath for a long time. It just soothes your muscles, relaxes you, makes you feel better. And people contributed that to a health spa type thing. I don't know. But anyway, it's a really big place. The problem with it is really, really strong sulfur smell. Okay, so yeah, it right down around the Springs area, it's pretty stanky, you know. And I mean, it's not like a sewer system stanky, but it's just a real strong sulfur smell. So, and about I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, my neighbor down there in Texas, the guy that lives two houses north of my property, my shop there, he retired. Him and his wife both retired, and they bought land up in here, built a house, and it's somewhere in this general area. I never knew exactly where it was, but he always said it's up there close to, just south side of Pagosa Springs, so it's a little, not too far from here. And he was all excited about moving up there and everything, so he moved up there and eventually sold his house. And the people that moved into the house, they're California refugees. They finally had enough of California, packed up, and moved to Texas. So as long as they live their California politics in California, I'm happy to have them. They're good people. So anyway, let's see what else we got to talk about here. Years ago, when I was just out of high school, my mom and dad, they at the time it seemed like a good deal, but they got suckered into one of those timeshare condo deals out here. It was in Pagosa Springs, out on the west edge of town. There's this big condo community, big golf course and all that kind of stuff. And I guess it was okay. It's just the maintenance fees and stuff. All the more you use it for 1 week out of the year, and all the money you got to pay for it. It just they couldn't. They finally got rid of it over the years. I don't know, about 7, 8 years ago, they finally got rid of the thing. I think it just ran out of its contract. They did it for, it was like a 25-year contract or something, and I think they just finally, the contract expired. But anyway, that's enough of that. What else? Let's see. Try to think what else can we talk about? I don't know. You want to hear a little bit of music, maybe? Maybe I'll go play some music for just a little bit. guitar music. I think it's like a finger style picking. Wish I had the talent to do that. One of the things I always wished I could do, and I never have been able to pick it up. Never have been able to figure out how to play a guitar. I've tried several times, and it just never. I just don't have that talent. Wish I did. But we're getting pretty close to town here. Closer and closer. It's starting more and more buildings, and we're going to drive right through the middle of town there. And on the other side of town, that'll be it. We'll go do the what do you call it? The bonus footage of the waterfall, and then I'll let you go. Oh mercy. Don't know how you like these long format videos. I'm trying to do something different because YouTube has stated that they want the creators to start doing more long term, or what they call long format videos, and try to make them more like, you know, TV shows and stuff like that. And I thought, well, what I can do here is do road trips, you know, go down the highway and make videos of, you know, scenic areas and talk about it as I drive through and tell you what I know of it. Right, just like right here, the Wolf Creek Pass, you know. I know a little bit about that because of, you know, being a truck driver, and I've been down it before. I've been up it and down it both. I've went both ways across there. But so this is it. This is Pagosa Springs, folks. And as we get closer and deeper into town, you'll start noticing there's Pagosa Springs. So there's different towns in Colorado. Some are way overbuilt, way corporate looking, way too many what do you call them, gift shops and art boutiques and jewelry boutiques and all this kind of stuff. Pagosa Springs is just about right. It's not too uptown trendy, and it's not, you know, run down old, you know, worn out old town. Okay, it's got just about the right amount of tourism, local, and scenery and all that. It's a nice blend. It's a nice town, very, very nice town. And as we get in closer and closer to town, there's a little restaurant on the right. As we get closer and closer into town, you'll start seeing more of those boutiques. But it's not like, I've been to Aspen, and I wasn't impressed with Aspen. It's beautiful there. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. But so many extremely, extremely wealthy people have moved in there, and I don't feel comfortable in the town. I feel like I go into town and they think, oh, here comes the trailer trash, you know, or the redneck, you know, redneck posse. You know, I don't feel comfortable there. It seems like everybody kind of looks down their nose at you. I don't get that in Pagosa Springs. It seems a little bit more down to earth, middle class, common man kind of vacation place to go to. So Goodman's Department Store. Yeah. Another town I didn't like. I used to when I was a kid. We went through it. It was up in Jackson, Wyoming, Jackson Hole, Jackson, Wyoming. And I thought that was a great town until I was an adult and went back there, and it's snooty, you know, upper crust, you know, attitudes and all this stuff. And but not in Pagosa Springs. You go to some of these other towns. The one I really like, probably one of my favorite towns, is Silverton, and it is about as laid back and common folk people there. I mean, the town it's got a few little gift shops and boutiques and stuff, but it's not overrun. It's a very nice little town. Like I said, little town. Their big claim to fame there is the railroad. You know, the Durango Silverton Railroad that goes up through there. It's a little narrow gauge railroad, and that's really neat. Oh mercy. So as we've already went through the downtown part, like I said, it wasn't a very big downtown part, and yeah, so I guess that's the end of the video. I ran out of footage. All right, now we're out of town, and this is me getting out and going up to the waterfall. Y'all be good, and I'm gonna put music to this, and y'all be good. Take care, and leave it in the comments what you're thinking about these long form videos. I really like to pick your brains on whether you like it or not, and how it'll all work. I don't know. We'll see. Some people tell me it's way too long of a format. I can't spend an hour and a half watching a video, Stan. I just don't have time. Well, watch 10 minutes here, watch 15 minutes there throughout the week. I plan on putting, as of right now, I plan on making one per week. So, and it's a test bed to see what happens. All right, off into the woods.